everybody is born with a little something extra, and sometimes they just have to find it. A little something extra is that superpower that every single one of us has inside that motivates us and drives our passion and makes us do the things that we do.
We're all on the same team. Let's think about how we can make that team as inclusive as we can.
For those of you listening to our podcast right now, you can also check out our video podcast at alittlesomethingextrapodcast.org.
Yeah, back our podcast.
What's it called?
Something extra
Oh, with
my mom.
thank you.
Welcome. And Falco and me, of course, the GiGi.
GiGi. And where are we today? What are we sitting on, first of all?
Our first couch.
Our first couch.
Our first couch.
It's our very first couch ever in our lives.
I know.
Yeah, so we have a new couch, we have a new setup, and with that allows us to bring more guests in-house. And who do we have today, Franco?
Thank you. We have a special guest, Erin Merryn. She is the creator of Erin's Law. And we're just so excited to be able to have you as our first guest in-house in the new studio setup. And excited because this is a great story to be able to talk to face-to-face.
Yes.
I mean, you've done such an amazing work.
Thank you.
And we're really excited to have you here.
So excited to have you. So let's get this party started.
Let's
I
do
know.
it.
I have so many questions because the more I learned about you, the more fascinating it is. Like the story gets so much better. You know, when you're judged in many different ways for many different reasons.
Oh, yes.
And I don't know like what I want to start with. The judgment that you endured from the time you were
Little.
I say let's just get it started from the beginning. Tell us, your story, what you're advocating for, and what
Yeah,
Erin's Law
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So I grew up here in the suburbs of Chicago, came from a good family, and, like most kids, went off to kindergarten, and that's where I met my best friend. And that's where I had my first play date. And I was at her house having my actual first sleepover. And her house family life was a little different from what I was used to because I had a mom and dad. Her dad wasn't in the picture, but her uncle lived in the home playing the caretaker role. And so anytime I was over there, mom was working and the uncle was watching her and her little brother. Well, at this sleepover, you kind of think you know where this story is headed. This uncle of hers came in and sexually abused me for the first, not last time.
At 5 years old.
6 years old. Yep,
years old.
kindergartner. And
Oh my gosh, that's heartbreaking.
Yes, and as I tell people with trauma, you don't forget that. I couldn't tell you what I fed my kids for dinner 2 days ago, but I could tell you the details of what color shirt that man was wearing, the threats he gave me, and my mom picking me up the next day, and I just wanted to get out of that house.
I bet.
But
Yeah.
I had not been educated. You don't keep these secrets. I had been taught, mandated here in Illinois, tornado drills, bus drills, fire drills. The police officer came in every year and taught us stranger danger. 90% of the time, kids are not being hurt by strangers, but by someone they know and trust.
Absolutely.
And the abuse with this monster continued. 6, 7, 8, turned into rape. Like I said, the details are horrific. I won't traumatize you. But all the warning signs were there that were missed.
Yeah.
I went from a sweet kid, acting out, an IEP was in place, I was labeled, I still got the paperwork. Behavior and emotionally disturbed child. The goals were Erin will find 3 proper ways to deal with her anger. Why wasn't anyone getting to the root of why I was so angry?
Right.
Yeah.
And
the
I
change
put my
that
hand
happened
through
too.
a window in anger because I was reliving this trauma. They made me repeat first grade. I mean,
Oh my goodness.
the school, I could have not have been screaming more red flags
The
of
writing
something
was
going
on the wall.
on the wall.
Yep.
And continuing to be threatened, I will burn your house down if you tell anyone what I'm doing. So there was always this fear, if you don't come back, I'll come find you. I'll burn your house down. Because I get asked a lot,
If you don't come back.
if you don't come back, because
Oh my
one of the
gosh.
most thing I get asked the most is, why did you keep going back if
He
this
was
man was doing this to
threatening you.
you?
Yeah.
Oh, he
to
was
come back.
threatening me big time. And the only reason my abuse ended is because we moved at 8.5 years old. All those behavior problems disappeared. The team sat down and said she no longer meets the requirements of the special ed program for her behavior problems because she's a changed kid.
Yeah.
Little did my parents realize moving was getting me that much closer to the next perpetrator in my life. I'm now in 5th grade, waking up to an older teenage cousin sexually abusing me.
What?
Yes.
And was this cousin in the house, or was it just
He
like
lived down
family
the street.
gathering stuff like
Oh
that?
my gosh.
I passed his house every day on the elementary school, walking there. And as my aunt started asking me to watch his 2 younger brothers, I was now 12, 13, and just like from when I was little, this older cousin threatened me. No one will believe you, Erin. This is our little secret. You'll destroy our family. And we came from a huge family. So what did I do? I wrote about it in my little pink diary. Opened up the back pages, hid it under my mattress, and was just documenting everything he was doing. All of a sudden, the warning signs are there. I'm depressed, withdrawn, school's noticing, reaching out to my parents. Well, I had some health problems at the time, so they blamed it on that. They always had something to blame it on. You know, when I was little, it was my parents splitting up, and there was talk of a divorce, and Dad wasn't living in the house. She's acting out because of that.
Yep.
At the same time in my life, I am learning DARE, the 8 ways to say no to drugs. And I take my DARE card to every state capital, and I flip it over and say, where are the 8 ways teaching kids on how to get away until today? We don't talk about it.
No.
And what made me come forward and finally speak about these, secrets I was keeping? Unfortunately, something to know about predators. If they're doing it to one and they're getting away with it, they're doing it to multiple. And my younger sister came to me. She's now 11, I'm 13, with the same secret. And I will never forget where we were standing in Wisconsin when she blurted out the words, Brian's gross.
Oh.
And I looked at her and said, he's doing it to you too. Same Christmas, Thanksgivings, other family gatherings. The one time I got away from him hiding behind a washer and dryer, he went after her. I mean, it was horrible.
Horrible.
And it destroyed our family.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
So then after that, did you then go to your parents because you knew it was not happening to your sister?
Was it
too,
time yet to
so-
tell? I mean,
we
like,
told them immediately the next day.
because you had
Because
you
I felt I
somebody
had
with
my
you.
sister with
Yes.
me. It's 2 against 1.
Exactly.
Someone's got
someone's
to
gonna
believe us.
someone's gonna listen. Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
I have goosebumps
And,
everywhere.
and police got involved. And the thing is, what's amazing, just like the work you guys do for families, in Hoffman Estates, there's a place called the Children's Advocacy Center, and they work with abused kids. And that place changed my life.
Oh.
I found my voice there. We got the support and counseling there. And it's the reason I now travel this world speaking out on this, because I found my healing path there and how to speak out with what had happened to me.
Yeah. I'm sure it's a phenomenal outlet to be able to just channel
Yes.
that energy into.
Well, and you know what was powerful was the fact that, they put me in individual counseling. I didn't want to talk to counselors about this.
Yeah.
But they reached out to the CAC, Children's Advocacy Center, and there was a group for other girls that had experienced this, and suddenly I didn't feel alone.
Right.
These girls understood what I had been through.
Totally.
The
Peers.
nightmares, the flashbacks. One of my best friends go, "You're not being abused anymore. Why can't you move on?"
Oh my
She
gosh.
didn't understand the
Just
PTSD,
lives
the
with you.
memories that constantly, the nightmares that were keeping me up. I couldn't forget what happened.
Never. No.
And I still at 13 years old was not telling anybody what happened when I was 6, 7, and 8, because my mother was so distraught after finding out.
Oh,
I couldn't
so
say to
the
her,
so
second
she knew about
abuse-
Brian, but she didn't know about the uncle.
no, and I could not tell her because I feared what she might do. I saw her cry so much.
Yeah.
And so I waited till adulthood to finally tell her. One senior year of college, one weekend home, I looked at her. I had fallen into an eating disorder. And she goes, "If you don't start eating," because I was so skinny, "we're sticking you in a hospital." And I finally blurted out the words, "Brian wasn't the only one." And the look that you're giving me is the look that she gave me in
Yeah.
horror and shock.
Right.
That having no idea, sending me off to the best friend's house,
Right.
the sleepovers, what was going on.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So wait a minute. So that gets you to senior year in college.
Yeah.
Then what comes after that? When did you start advocating for Erin's Law?
Yeah, so my senior year of high school is when I really found my voice and wanted to put a face and voice on this. And that diary that I kept hidden,
Yeah.
I turned
Came
into a
out.
book. And my goal was not to put this out there as revenge and anger, but to put this out there as putting a face and voice on a silent epidemic and showing people that you can overcome anything that you've experienced and turn, a tragedy, a challenge into something positive.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be that voice for the 40, 50, 60-year-olds that still hadn't told anyone what happened to them.
Right.
And so published that my senior year of high school, and then moved on to college and got
Your
my
senior year of high school. Wow.
degree in social work. started working in a counseling agency here in the suburbs, but I realized I needed to do more than that, and I had a bigger purpose, and I wanted to save kids from what I wasn't educated on.
Absolutely.
And so I made it my mission to go out there and give kids the voice I never had, and I started doing research on what state laws are mandated for education.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, and I tell legislators this twice a year, tornado drills, bus drills, fire drills. Now we do the lockdown drills, teaching kids in mass shootings
Yes.
how to evacuate. But I'm here to tell you right now, your child is more likely to be sexually abused than in a mass shooting, a tornado, a bus, and so on.
Probably combined.
Yes.
Yeah.
So why aren't we talking? And you might be thinking, well, this is a conversation parents need to be having, not put on the schools.
Yeah.
Parents don't talk
Parents
to their
don't
kids
even
about
want to
this.
have
Yeah.
their-
Unless they were abused.
Right. Then
And they're
terrified.
terrified.
They're checking
Yes.
everything.
But parents don't even want to have sex
Oh,
sex talk with
nothing.
their kids.
Nothing.
This is-
let
yes.
alone someone sexually
Yep.
abusing, like
Yes.
that type of conversation.
Yes.
Wow.
So I
You need to
decided,
put that in the hands of
where's
the
one
school,
other
yep.
place kids spend most of their time?
Yeah.
It's in schools.
Wow.
And my state senator said, Erin, I agree. We need to talk to kids about this. But they will never teach kids this in school. And you know what I told him? Still remember where I was sitting. I said, if you won't help me, I will find somebody that will. Because
Absolutely.
I will get this passed.
Yep.
Mhm.
It took 3 years. It took multiple trips to the state capitol testifying to legislators. But finally got it passed here in Illinois, mandating that every year kids learn personal body safety. What is the
Oh.
difference between a safe and an unsafe touch?
Mhm.
That you will be
Wow.
believed, that if you tell one person and nothing happens, you report it to somebody else.
Tell it to another person.
Maybe this isn't happening to you, boys and girls, but you know it's happening to your best friend. Because I had best friends peaky promising me not to tell anybody,
Yeah.
and they stayed quiet.
Yeah.
Oh,
And so it's
okay.
giving these kids these tools to
Wow.
speak up if this is happening to you. And the stories that have come out as a result are so powerful. And it's what gives me the fuel to make it my mission to get this passed
Absolutely.
in every state and as many countries as I can.
Absolutely.
And it's gone international.
Oh my gosh, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So how many states are you in now?
So here I've been at this 15 years,
Yeah.
and it is now passed in 38
That's
states.
fantastic.
And Ontario, Canada just passed it.
Oh,
And a
awesome.
state in India passed it.
Wow.
Wow.
So yeah, it's just, and I often tell people one state will pass it in 3 weeks. and then
Others will
they'll-
take.
Other states will take 8 years, like the state of New York. New York killed it year after year.
And
not
what would be the rationale for them doing
I
that?
get that a lot.
Yeah,
Who
sure.
wouldn't want to
Why would you not want to be
kids?
protecting
Yes.
children?
They say schools don't have time to teach this, so they have to do X, Y, and Z. I said, I'm asking for 1 hour out of
Yeah.
a school year. Give up art class
In the whole
for
in the whole year.
the whole
Yeah.
year, 1 hour.
They're
Yeah.
8 hours a
Then
day.
people say, where's the funding to teach this? How are they going to purchase the curriculum? Well, guess what? My Erin's Law Foundation that I have now created 3 years ago has created the free curriculum for any school to use, and it actually comes
amazing.
out this month.
Oh,
We
awesome.
just finished it,
Oh
our
wow,
team.
you just wrapped it up.
We just finished the elementary.
Fantastic.
We got videos made, and then we are moving on over the summer to do the middle school and high school. And it'll be right there. I'm getting it translated into Spanish right now, right there on the website for schools to access. So
Wow.
legislators can no longer make the, argument, Erin, this is an unfunded
How we did
mandate.
it. Yeah.
No, it's not. Here
right
you go.
here.
It'll
Yep.
cost you nothing.
Yeah.
Only thing that you need to do is
Wow.
just say it.
It's
Show it
just-
to kids.
Yes,
Give them
just
the
say it.
materials.
And in the state of New York, the lady that killed the bill every year, she chaired education committee. She was against telling schools what to do, even though the Senate, over 100 members passed it. It is amazing what I've learned about politics.
Oh,
Oh,
How
I'm sure.
one person can control a bill from being killed and letting anyone. The other 100 people could support it, but that one person, if they're the chair of committee, can kill a bill. And I kept coming back to her, and even wrote this in
Oh
my
my
third
gosh.
book. One day, I will bring you the proof of why I did not stop fighting for New York kids. And the most powerful story, the very first year Erin's Law was taught, in the 2021 school year, a prevention organization came in and taught Erin's Law. And in that one upstate New York school, 9 kids came forward in an elementary school saying they're being abused.
Oh my God.
When it went to trial, 26 boys took the stand and all testified against their principal, saying for years he molested them.
no.
It's the person you know and trust. He created the Lunch Buddies program. You are being rewarded for being a good kid. You get to have lunch with the principal. No, you're being molested and threatened and sent back to class. These
Oh
kids
my
had their
God.
warning signs. It's horrifying.
Horrifying.
I didn't expect that explosive of a story. And I sent it to every New York legislator and said, and this is why I spent 8 years fighting. And that man is now spending 63 years behind bars.
Oh my gosh. What about the people that did that to you?
So my one perpetrator, when I finally came forward my senior year of college, they went looking for him, investigated. Thank God he never got married and had kids. He was still living with his sister. All these years later.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, in
20
very
years later.
poor health. And he ended up not cooperating. His sister kicked him out that night, completely disowned him.
Yeah.
And because he was not cooperating, it was my word against his. There wasn't physical evidence. So the
Yeah.
detective here said, Erin, unless more victims come forward, there's nothing we can do. And he just died 6 months ago. So don't have to, fear
Deal
that.
with that anymore.
Deal with
Yeah.
that. And my other perpetrator is out there living in the suburbs. He confessed, got arrested, and ended up getting probation,
'Cause he
a
was
little bit of
young,
counseling
16, 'cause he
because,
was-
he was a teenager. His records are sealed. Like I said, this perpetrators could be any race.
Mhm.
One of my perpetrators was African American, one was Caucasian, one was a teenager, one was a grown adult. They, female, male, they come in any
All shapes and
shape,
sizes.
size, you name it. And like I said, he is still living in the communities, and parents don't know they're letting their kids go over to this man's house.
So even though he got arrested and everything, he didn't get identified as a sexual predator.
because he's a teenager, his records are sealed.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
If he was charged an adult, that'd be different.
Yeah.
But juveniles' records are sealed. So that is why he's not on a registry.
Wow.
That makes sense.
How amazing though that impact that you're having. Look what it did for those kids in New York. What it's going to do for the kids in India, worldwide.
Yes.
You sharing your voice and a horrific story.
Yeah.
That you have to relive every time you talk about it.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yes. But I know
Oh my
when I
God,
sit
but you're
there.
doing it. That is, I knew about Erin's Law. I did not know your full story, and I didn't until we were on here. I really wanted to hear everything from you
Mhm.
before, because you could read something and not get
and
it as
not
much.
get the full story.
But you saying that is really powerful. I mean, I think this will be great and especially for our kids with special needs, for
Yeah.
the typical population. Everybody needs to be looking out for this.
Oh, yeah. And special needs are the most vulnerable. And I made sure when I was meeting with my team, I can't tell you how many times I've had meetings with the curriculum team. And I said, we are making sure that we reach those in the special needs community
Yep.
to understand this, to be able, because they are the most vulnerable.
Absolutely.
And have you started looking into ways that how you would open up that curriculum to the disability population? Like how do
We've
like help
looked
them
at,
identifying?
Yeah, we've
when
looked at
that's
some
happening?
other research. I know videos really help them and books.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of excellent
Video-
children's
yeah.
books that really help get this message across. And that's what
Right.
I tell a lot of parents. Start with this list on my Erin's Law website
Yeah.
of books. And that's what I tell parents. Continue the conversation at home.
Yeah.
They send the Erin's Law letter home. This is what your child's going to learn.
Yeah.
And then they end up, okay, keep having the conversation.
Right.
Mhm.
And you get some parents that are fearing when they see that letter, this is sex ed.
Yeah.
I don't want my kid being taught this. I had
Yeah.
a mom in Oklahoma reach out to me. She called the principal when the letter came home because she was terrified that her daughter was going to be taught sex ed as a 7-year-old.
Oh my goodness.
She told me even after talking to the principal, she was not comfortable with this idea of letting her daughter learn this because she didn't see the curriculum, which is why
Right.
I love my curriculum. Parents can go right through and realize this is not
not
sex
gonna
ed.
hurt
There's
Yeah,
nothing
yeah.
about sex.
She
Yeah.
feared if she pulled her daughter from learning it and she had to sit in the library, that there was going to be some mark on her suspicion that something is going on in her home. So she felt like she was in this tough position.
Yeah.
She goes, it was the night before I did not sign the opt-out letter because parents can opt their kids out of this. We
Yeah.
can't take away their parental rights.
Right.
Mhm.
Of course.
But I would rather meet majority of the population than those 2 kids that are going to be sitting out.
100%.
So
Yeah.
she allowed her daughter to learn it. And she was contacting me to let me know one child came forward in her school saying that she was being abused and that one child was her daughter. She said, Erin, I've talked to my daughter since she was 2 about personal body safety, but my father was threatening to kill mom. And that is why my daughter was not telling. She goes, I came this close to withdrawing my kid, and please use my story for any parent that is questioning because my daughter could have been abused for many more years, and it took one lesson of your law. Another perfect example of why this is so important.
So important. So in the schools, is it everywhere every school now is mandated to
Every
do
school
it?
except private schools. Private schools are not
Yeah, they have
mandated,
their full rights,
unfortunately.
Yeah.
But all of your public schools must teach this.
Amazing.
But I have a lot of Catholic schools reaching out.
I was
Erin,
gonna
what's the
say.
best
Yeah, I'm
curriculum?
sure.
I've met with Diocese, Rockford Diocese, years ago, wanting to know what is the best curriculum they can teach Erin's Law with.
Yeah. Wow.
And how do you go out there to these different schools, and I guess to the rest of the states that still haven't bought into this? How have you been spreading this advocacy? And this
So a
policy?
lot of people reach out to me because they see national media I've been on. They hear about it because it gets passed, or I start reaching out to every state legislator. I go on the government webpage and I just start getting all their email addresses and just typing, going on LinkedIn, Facebook, and just,
Getting
and
it out
every
there.
6 months I do it again because people are being reelected.
Yep. Absolutely.
And so you just got to be persistent.
Yep.
Like I tell people, if you don't give up on doing something, you can make anything happen.
Oh yeah. Dig your teeth in and just
Oh, yeah.
keep it going.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
As I tell people, these legislators finally realize I'm not going away.
No.
And
right.
they're just like, okay, we
No,
just
at
got to
this
sign
point,
this.
We just got to get it in
Yeah.
every state, every school, and then we're good. Then we can get her off for back.
So
yeah.
which other? So New York was 8 years. What are some of the ones that haven't yet signed
Yeah,
on
there's
that
still
you've worked?
12 more.
It's a lot of the red states. Nebraska, Kentucky,
Really?
Arizona just killed it.
What?
That
Iowa,
doesn't surprise me. I mean, as you were
North
saying earlier,
Carolina. Yeah, it's a lot of these
Why?
red states.
I don't
that-
understand that.
I could see it being
think
like
it's
the
sex ed.
concern where it's sex ed. Exactly.
It's sex ed. That's what the red
oh,
states.
so they're
Yep.
not I got it.
Yep.
Well, there's so much with.
Do you think with this new curriculum that you're now releasing, and you could be able to show that to these states, and they could say, okay, this is not sex ed.
And
This
that
is
is-
just identifying
That
the
is
indicators.
why I created this foundation.
Yep.
I'm trying to check the boxes
Yeah.
of the problems and resistance I run into.
Yeah.
And if I can give them the curriculum, I just showed up at a Capitol with the curriculum and
Yeah.
said, here you go. It's not sex ed, because that argument was being made.
Absolutely.
And so, and the unfunded mandate, here it is, free. So
Yeah.
I'm checking all these boxes of these arguments of why it's not being passed.
You know, is that? I mean, that. So now it's on the website. Like I'm thinking about, we have our 60-second GiGi's Playhouse location opening next month in Charleston. Can all of our playhouses be a part of? Like
Oh, yeah.
have access to that curriculum?
Oh, yes. It's going to be
Because-
right there. I don't want just schools to be teaching it. I would love other
It would be
organizations.
great to add it as
to
a
be-
I
program.
think it'd be huge. And for GG University, I think that for our playhouses, and when I think about, like, we turn, our literacy program, so we do the free tutoring in literacy, like we would then make flashcards about it. Like, so we would probably turn it into something best for
Yep.
individuals with disabilities, or
Yep.
specifically Down syndrome, but it would work for many other disabilities as well. But any visual learner, it would work for.
Yeah.
That's amazing. We have to
Yeah.
do that.
Oh, yeah,
I
definitely.
mean, like,
oh, yeah.
now. Like,
Oh,
that's going to be
yes.
one of our first
Mhm.
action items out of this
Yes.
podcast.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. And I hope that other people start thinking that way too. There's so many places where outside of school that a curriculum like this
needs
could
to
be used.
Yes.
Wow.
And
For
do you have
sure.
that program for parents as well? I'm assuming.
So we
something.
have a letter and educating parents on how to continue the conversation at home, the do's and don'ts.
Yeah.
And they can look at it and go over it with their kids also.
Yeah.
Because I say these kids need to continue to hear this, because they may learn it in first grade, but something happens in fifth grade.
Right.
That's why it needs to be year after year.
Yeah.
Wow. And
Yeah.
it's age appropriate. What we're teaching our kindergartners is not what we're
Very
teaching our
different
fifth
than-
graders.
Right.
Yeah. And so when I was doing some research on Erin's Law and just watching some different videos of you. So what are the statistics of,
Who's being
of
abused?
who's being abused, and the rates at which it's happening?
1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will be sexually abused by the age of 18. There are 42 million survivors in America alone of child sexual abuse.
Whoa.
There's a shockingly high number.
Oh, it's a shockingly high number. I always tell people, you all know somebody this has happened to.
Yeah.
They just have not disclosed this to you. It doesn't say across my forehead, I've been abused.
Yeah.
But often those people that are going down that destructive path of drug addiction, alcohol abuse, what is the underlying cause of that?
Yeah.
Wow.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for people to realize too, like, sexual abuse comes in a lot of different
Oh, yes.
forms.
lot of different forms. Oh,
Not
yeah.
just rape. I mean,
And
there's-
often it starts with grooming. Grooming
Yeah.
children to see if they're
Yes.
going to tell. And then it goes from fondling to, and on and
then it
on and on. And
snowballs,
can
yeah.
be horrific.
Mhm.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it's important to have kids understand at a young age what the
Understand.
grooming process and just that trust issue can look
Oh,
like.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. They'll
That makes
trust
no
them and
sense.
see if, okay, will you keep this secret? So I give kids the example. Grandma's surprise party is a secret we're not going to tell.
Yeah.
What we got your sister, the bike for her birthday, we're not going to tell her.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, but, and we got to give them other unsafe secrets.
Yeah.
The kid that shows you the pocket knife in the bathroom, that's an unsafe secret. That knife should not be at school. That's a weapon. You need to report that. And then we get into the conversation about personal body safety.
Right.
The area's covered by your swimsuit. Nobody ever touches you there. If somebody does, you report it. You may be at the doctor's office. Mom is in the room. That's different. But, you know, kids need to know this. It's
Wow.
common sense.
And
It's sickening
not
how I
for
have
them,
to
yeah.
fight so hard to get this passed.
I'm floored.
And it's nuts that I live in a world that does not want to protect kids. You know what I tell these legislators? I always finish with, the only ones that should be voting against me are the ones that want to abuse our children.
Right.
Oh.
You could hear a pin drop in that room.
Well, that, I'm
All
sure.
the gasp.
Like, where do I
Whoa.
sign?
Yeah.
You're gonna, yes. I had one legislator go on the media in Alaska going, she's saying that, making it assume that I'm a perpetrator because I don't support her law.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, I mean,
Yep.
why wouldn't you?
Well, yep, right.
It's a good strategy.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm sure too in the past 15 years, being able to see how society shifted too.
Yeah.
I mean, look how many people are being exposed and
Oh,
just
yes.
this blanket that's being uncovered from
High
the
profile
top down.
cases.
High profile. Yes.
High profile and going all the way down. I mean, it's unbelievable, and realizing how prevalent this problem
is. Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's so scary.
I'm telling you all right now, 5-10 years from now, someone's going to disclose to you and you're going to remember this conversation.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely. And in your opinion, like, where do you think that comes from? Like, when people are abusing children and doing that, like, have you tried to get into their mind at all and understanding?
I've
like,
wondered.
What do you think?
I've wondered, but people often wonder, oh, were they abused as a child and they're acting?
I would imagine. It's
And there's
probably pretty
statistics that show that, but that is not the case in every abuse case.
Yeah.
like
Just
sleeping, like,
because
a power
someone
thing,
becomes a
too.
perpetrator does not mean they were abused as a child. Some
Yeah.
people are just so sick in the head.
Yeah.
I mean, if you knew the horrific details of what I experienced when I was 6, 7, and 8, you would think, how could somebody be that evil? What
Oh,
gets
yeah.
somebody to go down that path of just being that sick in the head to do something, cause such horrible harm to a
To a
child?
little girl.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's what I would be just so curious about. It's like, how do you get to that point? I know that there's just people that are just messed up
Evil.
in the head.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
What was so that like when you do you also work with a lot of victims?
Yeah, I talk to a lot of victims all the time. They're writing me. I mean, I speak at events, and I can't tell you how many survivors come up to me and say, me too. Or grown men that have come up to me and saying, crying and saying, Erin, I've never told a soul, not even my wife.
Yeah.
I got a legislator I'm working with right now. There's a documentary being made with some very successful filmmakers in LA, and they're following me around to state capitals, filming me testifying. And I've got one of the legislators saying, Erin, I'll be willing to sit down and come on camera, but I need to tell my children first. They don't know.
Wow.
I just told my mother what was happening in the family. So I think it's very popular or very powerful for men to come forward, because it's so much more difficult for men than women.
100%.
The shame,
Totally.
or men thinking this takes away my manhood. Are they going to think I'm going to become an abuser?
Right.
That is not the case.
No.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So there's so much more to just this law. I mean, this is a game changer.
Oh,
This will save lives.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure it has saved many lives already.
Oh,
And
there's so many stories.
What is the beginning of the healing process? Is it speaking it?
It's talking about it.
Yeah.
That's what really, I used to carry so much shame. I was a hot mess in
Oh.
high school. Miserable, depressed, attempted suicide, self-harm. It was, I ended up right around the corner at the psych hospital
Yeah.
because it was haunting me so much.
Yeah.
And it was through finding my voice. And I woke up one day and said, I can let this take another day of my joy and happiness, but it's allowing my perpetrators to win.
Yeah.
How do I do something positive out of this event?
Yes.
And I feel like in any life event you experience, you can find a way to turn around and do something good with it.
yes, absolutely.
And that was finding my voice. And I learned the more I talk about it, the more I heal.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
oh girl, you are with how much you've talked about it and how much you're doing. And I know that pain will never be gone.
No.
But the healing you're doing for yourself and so many
Others. Yeah.
is just, I mean, like truly a gift from God.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
And people often ask, what made you go after this? Literally, God spoke to me, told me to quit my job and pursue this. I heard his voice, and people are like, that's just crazy. I'll never forget handing my boss my resignation letter. And he goes, what can I do to make this a better environment for you to stay?
Yeah.
We need you here. And I said, I'm not upset here, but I have a bigger purpose to go out there and help save kids from what I wasn't saved from.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. And you did it.
And I did it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right, Gigi. She is going to kill us if we don't let her answer the questions.
Gigi's questions are definitely a different topic.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Only
Gigi's
one.
Sticking to what she knows.
Sorry. I love Luke so much. Are you happy he has Down syndrome like me?
Oh, he is the sweetest little boy in the world.
Yes, Luke is
My
your nephew.
Yep, my sister's son, my nephew. And 3 years ago, he came surprised. We didn't know, my sister and I have always said, why do genetic testing? It's not going to change
Right.
our view. I mean, my sister and I, in middle school and high school, if you look in the back of all the pictures of the clubs, I was not the National Honor Society. I was the Girl and Partners Club that after school worked with the kids with Down syndrome, cerebral palsy. We were a group that did fun things together.
Totally.
Because
that's
those
awesome.
were my people.
Yeah.
And years before my sister had her nephew, I followed this family on Instagram, big following, and it's called Downright Wonderful. I don't know if you're familiar. And I would send my sister videos going, you have to watch this. This will put you in the best mood. This family had a little boy with Down syndrome, and then they adopted another kid with Down syndrome from Ukraine. And these two little boys are just the sweetest. I will literally go on her page just to get this.
Get happy.
This happy. It is. They're just, yes, it's wonderful. And I love having little Luke. And every time my kids came up to told my husband last week, how can mom just walk up to anybody and start talking to them? I was in Wisconsin for spring break last week, and there was 3 people in there with Down syndrome and their moms. And I walked right up to the moms, pulled a picture of Luke. I said, here's my nephew. I go, are you familiar with Gigi's house? The boy, and I forget his name, was a board member for you guys before moving to Wisconsin.
Oh my gosh, that's so
we just got
funny.
talking about Gigi.
Oh, that's
It was
so
so
awesome. That's awesome.
Yep.
That is awesome.
What's something most people don't know about you?
What do some people don't know about it? Well, this is really interesting. But at birth, I suffered a traumatic brain injury and got encephalitis of the brain. Virus ate away. If you were to look at the scan of my brain, the MRI, almost the entire left temporal lobe is gone. My doctor, who wrote the foreword of my 3rd book, said my greatest struggle should be public speaking, the ability to talk, because that is where speech is developed. My short-term memory should be significantly impaired, which it was. We never understood why I struggled so much academically in high school, middle school, elementary school. Eventually I got tested, was given the IEP, individual education plan, if you don't know what that is. I'm sure you guys are very familiar with it. But I ended up, there's also often this stigma.
Yes,
of,
totally.
Of the kids, it was the back hallway at the high school.
Totally.
And it bothered me how they almost like segregated the special needs kids in the back.
Yeah.
And I was in regular gen ed classes, but I was also got that support, the learning strategies class.
Totally.
And the most powerful things came out of my high school years. We didn't know back then of why I had so much struggles. It wasn't until my senior year of college, I'm driving not too far from here. I had a seizure behind the wheel. Next thing I know, I'm getting the diagnosis epilepsy, and more seizures came, and medication, and now I can't drive. I've had so many roadblocks thrown my way trying to prevent me from pursuing my life passion and mission. And I teach people, I don't care what life throws you, if you don't give up, you can accomplish anything. And
Love
yes,
that.
this diagnosis has significantly impacted me. All my pregnancies were high risk,
Totally.
but I'm not going to prevent me from traveling the world, testifying to legislators, speaking at events.
Nope.
I have to take medication every day. But the way to explain it is the brain rewired itself as an infant. He said if this happened at 10, you would have major impairments.
Wow.
Yeah.
But the brain rewired, babies are resilient.
Yeah.
And I learned how to talk on my right side. Obviously, my short-term memory was still
Wow.
significantly
Sure.
impacted. And I had people in high school, a guidance counselor, an algebra teacher, standing at the chalkboard. I can't solve the algebra problem. Erin, do you plan to go to college someday? Oh, yeah? You need to rethink your plans. You'll never get accepted into college if you can't do algebra.
In front of the class.
There was people in the class who
That
went,
is so messed up.
gasped.
That
I
is
could
so
hear
bad.
them. I left.
my
I
gosh.
ran out of her
Yeah.
class in tears,
walk out.
bawling, totally mortified. 6 months later, I get my ACT score. I got a 16. That's pretty bad. And my guidance counselor met with me, and at the same time, I had just failed algebra,
Yeah.
withdrawn from her class,
Mm-hmm.
and she looked at me, the guidance counselor, who's known since my freshman year, my goals, they ask you that first time they meet with you,
Yeah.
is to go off and get a degree and become a social worker. I wanted to work in the schools. And so she looked at me and said, Erin, with an ACT score like that, you will never get accepted into college. I'm sorry, hon. In fact, I don't even think you'll do good at a community college. You would make a great waitress, though. And I handed her my pass. I was so angry. And I said, you've known for the last 3 years what I want to do with my life. I will prove you wrong. Sign my pass. I went to her boss. She got in a lot of trouble. And he told me how his son struggled in math and where his son went to college. What do you
my
know?
gosh.
I applied to that college and got in. 5 years after high school, I had my master's in social work and graduated
That's
with
incredible.
honors.
Oh
And
my
I
gosh.
became that school social worker. And I went from the kid with the IEP sitting in IEP meetings with my parents to suddenly advocating for
On
kids
that other
as
side.
a social worker. And it was
Giving
like,
them.
and working with these
Yep.
kids
Wow.
going, don't let this learning disability stop you from pursuing your dreams. Because some of the smartest people out there can't do.
Yeah.
What
I mean,
what
why
you could do.
absolutely.
Why do you need to be doing algebra to do social work?
Exactly. Go.
Yeah.
You
You
know.
don't. You can do a lot of amazing things without being a master at algebra.
Totally.
Yes. Yes.
And now look at this. I mean, on top. So you're not still doing. I mean, you're obviously doing
Yeah.
social work.
Yes.
That's for sure.
In your
But
own
on a
way, yeah.
completely different
Yep.
level. But then, so you moved on from that social work that you did, and that's when you started Erin's Law.
Erin's
fully
Law,
advocating.
full
full-time.
advocating, and public speaking. I
Yeah.
love meeting people and being that inspiration to
sharing that.
helping people
Absolutely.
find their voice and find their purpose in life.
Yeah.
No matter what. It doesn't have to be abuse. It could be any. I mean, I love what you've done with your life.
Mm.
There are so many people that would look at the situation you were in and, look at it as something bad, and you've done something beautiful.
With tons of amazing people like your sister, and you know what I mean. Like
Yes.
it's just everybody coming together to make the,
The
world a better
difference
place.
you're making
yeah.
in the
And just
families' lives.
taking a spin on a
Yes.
negative and not
and
seeing
showing
it that
people what a beautiful thing
100%.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, my blessing for sure.
Absolutely. You are doing the exact same thing. Something that so many people, and for a long time, people are shamed in talking about and feeling just they're fearful
Yeah.
of being able to come forward and have these conversations.
Yeah.
And now you're publicly speaking about it and trying to
So
tell
cool.
people like this is something that is happening to so many people.
Yeah.
We need to speak up.
Yes.
And you're doing the exact same thing, and you've really turned it on its head.
I
That's
love
incredible.
it for any grandparent who's out there. For you know what I mean? It's not
Oh, yeah.
just moms who
Moms.
can broach a subject.
No.
Can they go to your website and look at? Is there like a
Oh,
place
yeah.
they can see?
If you go to aaronslaw.org or the Aaron's Law Foundation
okay,
online, you'll find it all.
that's awesome.
Oh, yes.
Because
you'll
I think
find
that some
everything.
parents, grandparents,
Yep.
aunts, uncles, you know what I mean? Who
Yeah.
I had someone come up to me at GiGi spoke at the United Nations for World Down Syndrome Day. And someone came up to me and wasn't sure what to do, but felt like her niece with Down syndrome could be being put in that situation or trafficked. And again,
Oh, God, it's terrifying.
terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
And she remember that, and I mean, she was
Mhm.
following me. I was like,
yeah, it was
okay,
3 weeks ago.
we
Yeah.
need to get you hooked up with your you need to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
You know, we were like, what do we do with those things? But I think that she didn't know who to go to.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, it's no different if that person has Down syndrome or not. Go to the authorities.
Go to the authorities.
Yes.
Get
right?
connected with the children's advocacy
Is that
centers.
the first thing we do?
Yes.
that
I
was-
always direct people there because
I just said
kids-
please because I didn't know what else.
often think being brought to a police department, they're in
Scary.
trouble.
Yeah.
This is scary. I can't tell what's going
Find an
on because am I
advocacy
going to
center.
be in trouble if they don't believe me?
Yeah.
The Children's Advocacy Center is developed to be this safe environment, colorful walls, stuffed animals for the
Right.
kids to take home, and they build this trust with the kids.
Yeah.
It's a safe environment.
Yep. Okay, good to know.
So I always
Because
tell
I
people,
literally, I was like, okay, you've got to talk to somebody. I mean,
Yeah.
and it was because of the situation that her sister kept putting her niece in that she was concerned about.
Yep.
So I think it's really important that anybody who's listening knows that they can go look for
Yep.
next steps.
And if you suspect abuse, call the Department of Children and Family Services, DCF,
Yeah.
you know, whatever it's called in your state, but call that hotline and express your concerns.
And I think her fear was, I also don't want to lose her and put her in a home that could be worse. So I get it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I said, well, are you ready to take on the responsibility? Like that would be,
You
and
get
she would have,
guardianship.
yes, because that would have been obviously better than putting her, in
In
a
a
foster
foster
family.
home. Yep.
Which could have been absolutely fine too.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But just at least you'd know where she is.
Yeah.
But I think people a lot of times don't know what to do. Like this
Yep,
woman just came
they don't.
up to me at the panel at the United Nations saying, I think this is happening. I was like, oh my goodness. So, I mean, having that resource and that we could send people to Erin's Law. So it's Erin's Law or
Dot-
Erin's Law Foundation.
AaronsLaw.org or Aaron's Law Foundation.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, go ahead. Do you have one more? Hers are very different, but at least we're learning all sides of you.
Yeah. I think I know where the next question's going.
What hobbies do you have?
What are my hobbies? Well, something interesting about me is I have 4 children and I love painting rocks with them. And then we write on the back of them, the town we live in is Elgin Rocks, #, and you hide them out in forest preserves all over the place.
Yes.
In front of businesses, and people find them. We'll write inspirational words.
Yes.
You know, we could buy those stickers from different places and they say different, Bible passages.
Yeah.
And we hide these and the kids, do different.
That's a great app.
Oh yeah, we love it. It's just
Love
a great activity
Yeah.
where it's fun with the kids. You're not putting them in front of a screen.
Right. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yep. And then you did have one more.
How do you come up with your cat's name?
So yes, this
What's
is
the
an
carrot?
interesting story. The internet's an interesting thing, and I
Yes.
just happened to post a video of my daughter singing to our cat, and the way the cat responded to her actually reading a book to the cat, and the way the cat responded went viral.
That's so
I got
funny.
Ellen DeGeneres sharing it.
Oh
I
my
got the
gosh.
media, People Magazine, and
Oh my god.
I went from 2,000 followers to 75,000,
Yeah.
and now it's at 328,000.
Yeah.
And then there became a new cat because that cat died. We got a kitten we surprised the girls with. And that ginger kitty acted the same way as the other one. Cats hate water. Giving the cat baths,
Yeah.
pushing in strollers. I have videos, not kidding. If you go on the Cat Named Carrot's Instagram page, she's got cucumbers on her eyes, laying there purring.
Oh my
Spa
gosh.
day, the girls all
Yeah.
do. So when we got her as a kitten, my daughter, I said, what are we going to name her? And I was recording her, and she instantly said, because he was orange, she goes, how about Carrot? I'm like, Carrot? Okay.
Okay.
Carrot the cat.
That's
And so
funny.
and you know what? I feel like God put these kitties in our life for a purpose.
Yes.
Because
to give you the
I use it,
platform.
the platform.
Yes.
I am reaching out to so many people, talking about Down syndrome, talking
Yes.
about Aaron's Law. It's like I use this platform. Yeah, I'll
Your
post the cat
cats.
content, but
Yeah.
then I'll post here and there. It's April Child Abuse Prevention Month.
Yes.
It's Down syndrome awareness. And, I
Right.
do these different bring
Totally.
awareness.
Yeah.
I've done videos of Luke
Oh gosh, he's so
with the cat
Yeah.
to bring awareness
Yeah.
to the potential, all of that. Look
Absolutely.
at this beautiful.
Crazy concept.
So
I
yes.
know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's funny. That was God.
Oh,
for
yes.
Sure,
Oh,
giving you
yes.
the platform.
Giving
Yes.
you this
Yep.
boost.
Yes.
Exactly.
I mean, the cat
Yes.
was even featured on NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
That's hilarious.
I mean, it's just been crazy.
yeah. Wow.
Former First Lady Laura Bush follows the cat.
Yeah. That's so funny.
It's crazy.
That is so
I have a
funny.
very interesting life.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, hey, any way to get the message out there.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yep.
That's
Carrot
so
the cat.
funny.
There you go.
Carrot the cat.
All right,
That's
good.
so cool.
If you had one message to the world, what would it be?
I love that question.
Mhm.
Great question, Gigi.
Okay.
If I had one message for the world, it would definitely be that anything is possible. Don't let anything stop you in life. You can accomplish anything you set your mind to, no matter what limits, what struggles, what disabilities you have in your life.
Totally.
Don't let that hold you back from persevering. And, if you got it up here, it may take a little longer for some people to get it than others.
Yeah.
But like I say, if you be persistent, I failed algebra 3 times. Finally passed it. I had so much negative feedback I was getting from people in my life. You can't do this, you can't do this. But if you believe in yourself, you can make anything happen. And last year, it was 20 years ago that I had graduated from high school. And I gave up and gave the speech at the National Honor Society to the students, recognized as the distinguished alumni.
Wow, how about that?
Yes.
They told you, yeah. Did you share what they told you?
Oh, I told the kids. I
Yeah.
said, life will throw you a lot of, but there were a lot of people in that high school that significantly changed my life.
Yeah,
That gave me the attitude that I have,
Yeah.
that I can go out and do anything. I didn't wake up one day and figure it out.
totally.
The school psychologist, some amazing teachers that said, Erin, you can go on and achieve anything you set your mind to. Don't let these difficult
yes.
classes,
Yep.
this label of us, special education, any of that holds you back.
Yeah,
And it was that, hearing that repeated so many times,
right.
that finally sunk. And I'm like, you know what? They're right.
Yeah.
I can't continue to be miserable and spend the rest of my life
Like
letting this be a
Thank
negative
God, because
thing.
many people do choose the latter.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. So
And it's
thank
my hope,
goodness.
GiGi, it's my hope people see the inspiration you are,
Mhm.
that, you can do amazing things with your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Do you have other? I mean, do you have brothers or just?
Just 2 sisters.
Oh my gosh, you're
Yes.
all girls.
And then all of a sudden I had 3 girls, and to get this little boy, the
Luke.
sweet little blessing he has been in our
Yep.
life, it's just been,
Mm-hmm.
I look at him. I mean, right before him, we were having our 4th, and I lost that baby in the 2nd trimester. And I was devastated. My sister Margot had lost her last baby 6
Oh.
months earlier
Oh my gosh.
yes, we both had miscarriages 6 months apart.
Oh my gosh.
And I was so devastated, and I thought, you know what? I turned to my husband when we got pregnant again, and I said, we're going to get the little boy we never would have had. And I look at that little boy, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, the sweetness to be able to raise a son is just, what
yeah.
it's like, right?
Oh yeah.
There's
yeah,
a
yeah.
relationship between a
Yep.
mom and a
And a
son.
son,
I mean,
yeah.
I wanted girls so bad,
Yeah.
but there's a relationship with a mom and a son. And I look at that, and I look at my sister with Luke.
Yeah.
Luke wouldn't be here
No.
had it not been for.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
We would not be sitting here right now.
Right.
Had my, had
Isn't
that.
crazy?
Yes. So
Yeah.
I feel like in those tragic situations,
Yep.
you can see the beauty later on.
Yep. That's what I always say too. A miracle isn't always pretty and beautiful. It's
No.
disguised in pain and
No,
tragedy.
yes.
And it's the miracle that you find inside
in
that.
that.
Yep.
I like it.
Always.
I like it.
Always. So our show is called A Little Something Extra.
Love it.
What do you think is your little something extra?
I think my little something extra is, the fact that I have been given this gift to, a lot of people are not comfortable with public speaking. It is the number one fear.
It was always my biggest fear. And now I have to
Biggest
do it
fear
all
is
the time.
public
Yeah.
speaking. And I never had to overcome that fear.
Yeah.
It's just something that has come natural to me. I don't get nervous. I get asked that question all the time. How long did it take you to overcome your nerves of public speaking?
Mhm.
I said, I never
Never had
had that.
You're never there.
It's just something that
still
I
have
couldn't
them.
talk about my
Yeah.
darkest moments, but once I finally could, I just had this
Unleash
confidence of
this
I
whole-
can just get in front of people. And
Yep.
I tell my audience when they ask me questions, I go, no questions off limits.
Yeah.
Ask it.
That's-
I'm not afraid.
wow. Yeah. That's
I mean,
awesome.
that's a great point too.
Yes.
Yeah. If you could tell that story, you could tell any story.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
And I would say your other superpower is your tenacity. I mean, the fact that, girl, you do not give up.
I don't.
You do not give up,
No, I don't.
no matter how many times you get knocked down.
Yes.
And you're kind of like me. When the more you knock me down, look out, because when I get up, I'm going to do something huge.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah,
I'm going to
it's
do
almost a
something
blessing.
bigger,
Yep.
better,
Yep.
and
Always.
definitely.
Yes, I love it. Well, this was so beyond a blessing. I learned so much. I'm excited for people to be able to hear this.
Mhm.
People that need to hear this. People that now have that you have given them access now on
Yeah.
your website.
Yeah.
To be able to understand more, because again, people don't want to hear this. It's like taboo, like you're gonna will it to happen. No, you won't. But you need to address it if it's happening.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's really a
Mhm.
huge piece. And the fact that you are giving all those tools and putting that on your website is huge. I mean, I'm excited for us to use it at GiGi's
Oh, yeah.
and help our families. I think
Mhm.
that's something we need to put on our next newsletter blast. When we do our blast, they go out to all of our locations,
Yeah.
all of our families.
And if people
So-
want to follow, my journey, there's the Erin's Law Facebook page, but
Yeah.
there's also the film that's being made, the documentary.
Oh, awesome.
And you can look up the trailer to it. It's called, if you go on YouTube,
Okay.
Erin's Law Film, you will find it, or Aaron'sLaw.com or Aaron'sLawFilm.com. You can see the trailer to it, and it'll eventually, here in a couple years, be out there, hopefully on Netflix
Awesome.
for hopefully on one of the big.
Yeah.
Let's get it onto one
That's-
of the big streaming platforms.
Yes.
The world needs to see it.
Yes.
I have goals.
For sure.
And when I-
Absolutely. She'll get it on something.
I
It'll
set
be at the
goals. I'll
theaters.
get it done.
It will be at the theaters for sure. Right? All right. And then you want to give did I say tips?
Just say tips.
I did say tips.
Tips.
Okay, there you go. A little better.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Here are my tips on supporting others.
Okay.
Make sure you listen when people talk and give them full attention.
Okay.
Be sure to let them know what their feelings are, heard and understood.
That their feelings are heard and understood. Okay.
Healing takes time. Do not rush people. Take care of yourself and do nice things for yourself. Check on people you love and show them you care about them.
Yes. Good ones.
I love it.
Those are good
Amen.
tips. Those are very good tips. I'm
Very
not going
good
to sing them
tips.
for you. Is there anything else you want to say before we go? Because this was so good. I'm like so excited to share. I think I'm more excited about sharing this probably than any other thing we've ever done because I do feel like it's going to change and save so many lives. I truly believe that. I mean, what you're doing is unbelievable and so much bigger than I even knew. And I thought I knew, but I didn't know what I didn't know. And now I do. And I will be advocating and sharing your story and getting it out there and using it at the playhouses for our
Yes.
kids here. I think it's a really important piece. Building it into a literacy book. I think it's really an important piece for us to be able to do that. And we'll share that if you need it.
Yeah.
If
No,
in whatever sort, we'll have
That
our team
would
put it
be-
together.
that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay. Well, thank you so much.
Everybody is born with a little something extra, and sometimes they just have to find it. A little something extra is that superpower that every single one of us has inside that motivates us and drives our passion and makes us do the things that we do.
We're all on the same team. Let's think about how we can make that team as inclusive as we can.
For those of you listening to our podcast right now, you can also check out our video podcast at alittlesomethingextrapodcast.org.